Before I get into today's video, I want to thank Cozy Lady for sending me over the beautiful LED lights that will be featuring in today's video. I truly love these LED lights so much, and they really spice up this room. They're really easy to assemble, and there's so many cool features on it, like customizable colors. If you guys want to purchase your own, you can head to the link in my description box. Now let's get into today's video. Hi guys! Today is going to be a very nostalgic video for me because I'm going to be talking all about Monster High. To any of my people that don't know what Monster High is, Monster High was and still is an extremely popular doll franchise that was released back in 2009. Monster High taught people, including myself, the importance of being yourself, being unique, and being a monster. And because of that, Monster High will always hold a very special place in my heart. But before I begin to show you my collection, I want to give a little bit more backstory behind why I love Monster High so much. And just to clarify, no, I do not collect Monster High dolls anymore. So when I was 7, I went to Toys R Us with my grandma, and I was actually looking for Pokemon. Yes, I was looking for a bunch of Pokemon cards and Disney princesses. And we happened to stumble into one of the newer aisles, which is where all the Monster High dolls were. And I'm telling you guys, I remember seeing through my eyes, 7 years old, looking at the Wave 1, the original OG Monster High dolls. And now I'm just like, I should have grabbed them. But I was like, no, I don't really like these, like what are they? And my grandma was like, no, really, you should just get a pack. I'm gonna get you a pack whether you want it or not. So she did. And that's where my passion and love for Monster High started to come in. Over the years, I have collected over 200 Monster High dolls. So quarantine happens, and one day I was like, oh my god, I want to watch a Barbie movie. But then I was on YouTube on my home page and I saw this video and I was like, no way. Somebody is talking about Monster High like they don't even create the dolls anymore, because this was after the reboot happened. I got back into Monster High in around October, and when I say I got back into it, it just means that I like to watch the movies, webisodes, even YouTube videos on them, because I support the franchise, and I am praying, because they did announce back in February that they are coming back as a reboot, but a different kind of reboot, and I'm just so excited. I'm happy to see any new Monster High content, and I know the fandom is screaming with excitement. I am too. Will I be collecting dolls? No, but I still support them and I will still watch the movies, cherish the moment of reminding me about how fun and cool these dolls were. That was already pretty long. Let's get into me showing you my collection. Welcome to the first shelf. We are starting right where the ground is, and we're going to be moving up and moving towards the left. This shelf is mixed with multiple doll lines that Monster High released, but starting from this right corner here, we can see the doll line called Haunted. Haunted is one of my favorite Monster High movies that they ever released. I'm not even kidding when I say I've probably watched that movie over 30 times. And as much as I loved the movie, I was not the biggest fan of some of the dolls. I mean, I really loved Vandala de Bloom, I think her name was. And I also really love River Styx too. She is so pretty. But I wasn't the biggest fan of how Claudine, Draculaura, Rochelle, and Twyla, which I don't actually have, how they came out. But besides that, these are all the dolls that I have from Haunted. Behind them, you can see Laguna Blue in her cauldron. This is from the Dead Tired line. I remember when my mom found me this doll, I was screaming. These dolls are pretty rare to find, and as simple as they were one of my favorite lines that Monster High ever released. Now moving over to the left here, you can see we have the doll line Boo York. I love Boo York so much. This was the first ever Monster High musical, and the songs are such a bop. I love them so much. I didn't collect very many of the Boo York dolls, as this was the time when I started to fall out of my Monster High phase. But from the dolls that I do have, my all-time favorite from this line has to be Nephra. Nephra was one of my all-time favorite characters in Monster High. Now we have moved to the shelf above the one that I just showed you, and I love this shelf so much. Why do I love this shelf so much though? It's because this has so many of the OG Monster High dolls. Over here I have Maya.B and Persephone. These are the two twins that always followed Tourline around. I have Venus, Rebecca Steam, who is one of my favorite Monster High dolls. Abby, again, one of my favorites. I was screaming when my mom found her for me. My mom got me basically all of the Monster High dolls that I have, so thank you, Mom. And over here we can see Claudine, Cleo, Frankie, and Draculaura all in their OG outfits, except these are not the original dolls. If any of my Monster High collectors remember, Monster High released the OG dolls, but in a rebooted form that were cheaper quality. But again, I really wanted these dolls because they represented the OG dolls that I dreamed of having for the longest time. Then right here, these are not the OG dolls, but this is Heath Burns, who was always in the webisodes, and he was the only Heath doll I had. I think it was the only Heath doll they actually made. And then we have Jackson. Again, I always wanted to have the Jackson doll, but when I started collecting them, it was really hard to find them. So that is the only Jackson doll that I have. Now, moving down here, this is the Coffin Bean playset. But again, this is mixed with a lot of different dolls. We have the Coffin Bean Claudine and Rebecca, along with a bunch of picture day dolls, and then other dolls from various sets like some of the party lines, etc. Moving down to this really tiny shelf down here, I have some of my Dead Tired dolls, and I also have the Fashion Abby, but she's in her bed. So we have Spectre, Rebecca, Laguna, and Draculaura in her bath. And if we move down towards this shelf, we have a lot of the transfer students, exchange Monster High students, and I was not the biggest fan of these dolls, but I really love how they all look together. The colors are so vibrant. And again, over here, this is a Creepateria playset, one of my favorites. And if we move up to the top of this big shelf, this was the last shelf that I ended up setting up when I was putting all my dolls back. So it's pretty random. I have 4 Ever After High dolls. I was not the biggest fan of Ever After High, but I did have a little phase with them. I have a Draculaura, Laguna, Rochelle, Claudine, Scarus, Invisibility, and some playsets like the first ever Monster High School and the Scarus car. We have now moved to the second shelf that I have for my dolls. I really love this bottom shelf, even though it's pretty crazy and crowded. Starting from the left, we have the Skulltimate Roller Maze dolls. These were some of the first dolls that I started collecting when I got into Monster High. But if you actually want to know the first ever dolls that I got, if we move over to the right, here they are. The first ever dolls that I got were from my grandma, and it was the 3-pack of the Fear Leading dolls with Draculaura, Ghoulia, and Cleo. These dolls are in pretty weird shape. Cleo is literally missing her arm, but it's hidden behind Ghoulia's hair. Ghoulia's hair is in pretty bad shape, and I think one of Draculaura's fingers are literally broken. But besides that, I'm so happy that these were some of the first dolls that I ever had because they are some of my favorites. And you can just see how much detail was always put into the Monster High dolls. If we move over to the right again, you can see the Dancing Monster High pack. This was for the dance tryouts I remember seeing in one of the webisodes. And in the back right corner, I have a bunch of like the lab students and when they were in art class, along with a few other dolls. Moving up to the top, you can see the Sweet 1600 doll line. Peep Draculaura in the back left, one of my first dolls. I believe she was my 3rd or 4th doll that I had ever gotten from Monster High. She is in by far the worst condition. Like her hair, what has even happened to it? Her outfit, where did half of it go? Her arm is missing and broken. She was the one Monster High doll that I brought with me when I went in the bath and like played and stuff. But besides that, you will notice that almost all of my dolls are practically in perfect condition because I was that kid that just wanted them to always be displayed nicely. And I always wanted them displayed nicely because I looked up to a bunch of YouTubers like, I think it was Wookie Warrior, like 123, Claudina 9, Mommy and Gracie, Kitty's Mama. All these people that I watched growing up, they always had their dolls so beautifully displayed, and I wanted to be like them. I wanted to film videos just as I am right now. So that is one of the huge reasons I wanted my dolls to stay in nice condition. Over here I have the Sweet 1600 car, and I actually know that this Draculaura was exclusive to this car. I think it was like a Toys R Us exclusive. I know a lot of people talk about how they've never seen this Draculaura before. And over to the right we have the Ghouls Rule. This was the first ever Monster High movie that came out with the 3D animation, or was it the 2D animation? I'm not too sure. I loved the movie. I remember watching it every single day for like a month and remembering all the lines. I was truly obsessed with Monster High at that point, and I just knew that this was the toy that clicked with me. And fun fact, that Claudine was my second Monster High doll that I had ever gotten after my 3-pack, and that was the moment when I realized that I actually wanted to look more into Monster High because I just thought the dolls were so cute and fun. This is probably my favorite shelf that I displayed when I was putting my dolls back up, and this is the Scarus line. This line was so much fun, and I feel like all the dolls look so good together and so cohesive. One of my favorite movies, I love Monatella Ghostier. I really wish they actually had made a doll of her because she was so unique, and I just really enjoyed the plot of the whole movie. It was so fun. Okay, so you know how I just said that I think the Scarus line shelf that I displayed was my favorite? Yeah, well actually I think that this shelf is my favorite, and it's because there are so many vibrant colors, and I just love how, again, how cohesive all the dolls look together in their lines. On this shelf we have the 13 Wishes doll line along with the Skull Shores. I loved 13 Wishes so much. Again, that is just a movie that I can say every line because I watched it so many times and I remembered practically the whole movie script. I loved the concept of showing how sometimes people feel like they're in other shadows, and we definitely saw a lot of that in this movie with Howleen and her relationship with Claudine. The outfits, I just cannot believe how beautiful they look. I love when there's like gold and sparkly stuff on clothing and anything really. And I really think Monster High did an incredible job producing the dolls, producing the movies. One of my all-time favorite lines. Over on the right, we have the Skull Shores, a classic movie. Skull Shores was such a fun line. And it's also such a fun movie because it's not too long. And again, their outfits are just incredible, fabulous. Mwah, I love them. On this shelf, I have a lot of dolls that are just really not only eye-catching, but super special. Right in the center up here, you can see that is my collector Draculaura doll. Her eyelash extensions, girl, I could never wear those, but they look amazing on you. I have the Sweet Screams Frankie and Draculaura and Ghoulia, which I actually braided her hair to make it more curly when I take them out eventually. I have Catty Noir and Casta Fierce. Seeing those dolls in the boxes at the store was so exciting. They are just so beautiful. And again, that is something I give props to Monster High for doing, is not only did they make the experience of having a doll and playing with the doll amazing, but they also made the experience of going to buy it, going to get it, seeing it in the box truly even more special. Then we have the iconic Headmistress Bloodgood on her horse. I was so happy when they released this doll because it truly made it feel like Monster High was coming to life. We were getting all the characters we were seeing in the movies. And over to the left, we have Claudine, Draculaura, and Frankie. Frankie is playing as Cinderella, Claudine's playing as Little Red Riding Hood, and Draculaura is playing as Snow White. I think her name was actually Snowbite. And on the tippy top of the shelf, we have my favorite Monster High minifigures. Look how gorgeous these are. They are so cute and they just look so perfect on display. I have a whole ton of them. I have Frankie, Draculaura, Venus, Spectra, Skeleta, Cleo, Claudine, Ghoulia, and Laguna, and I love these so much. Okay, you guys, we are officially on the last shelf. Can we just take a second to appreciate how gorgeous these dolls are? Like the colors, everything just makes my heart so happy. On this top shelf, we have the doll lines Freaky Fusion combined with Frights Camera Action. Was a movie that I watched so much. The intro was so iconic and it made the adrenaline pump in me. And in Freaky Fusion, it showed how important friendship was to not only all the ghouls, but specifically Frankie, and how she almost risked her own life to save her friends. I loved all the new exchange students that came in the movie Freaky Fusion, like Nathan Rott, Serena Von Boo, and so many others. As for the Frights and Camera Action, we have, starring right middle center, my favorite Monster High doll out of my whole collection, and that is Honey Swamp. I love her hair. I love turquoise in dolls. Quick fact, this was the first ever shelf that I got when I started collecting my Monster High dolls, and it's still here 9 years later. In this little corner here, we have the 13 Wishes playset that came with Cleo, and then I have some of the swim dolls like Draculaura, Venus, and Laguna. This next cube has to be my favorite cube on this shelf. This was again one of my all-time favorite doll lines that Monster High released. These are the Wave 2 dolls. Here you can see Wave 2 Claude, Draculaura, Cleo, and Laguna. Cleo is my favorite out of the 4 that I have. She is just always so gorgeous. These next dolls are really well hidden behind all the feet above, but in this cube shelf here, I have the Scarier Reef Monster High line. I'm gonna be honest with you, I did not like this movie, and I really was not the biggest fan of the dolls. I really thought the twins, though, were cute, but other than that, I just did not like this movie. Laguna did not feel like herself, and so many people say that, but it was true. Like, what was happening with her? She was constantly freezing up when she was dancing, and again, why would she be afraid to dance if we've seen her in previous webisodes dancing? I know they probably did that in the past, and then when it came to the future, they're like, oh gosh, let's just pretend that never happened. Okay guys, we are officially down to the last 6 shelves featuring my dolls. I will say that I do have a bunch of Monster High playsets, but I didn't want to display too many of them and take up much space that I had, as you can tell, these dolls just fit perfectly in the amount of space that I had. Starting off on this shelf, we have the Dot Dead Gorgeous dolls. These dolls were so unique. I loved how they used a bunch of fabrics, and I definitely have to say that Ghoulia was one of my favorite dolls from this line. I feel like she's kind of underrated. Her hair was so pretty, her shoes, everything, and I also really loved Spectra in this line too, along with Operetta. And combined it in this shelf, we have the Zombie Shake Monster High dolls with Maya.B and Persephone, Venus, and Rochelle. I loved this line. When do I not say I love this line? I literally loved every single Monster High doll line, but this line was so pretty. Look at Jennifer, she looks gorgeous. And really far back in the corner, you can see Jane Boolittle. Her hair is so soft, and Cleo.
Oh my goodness.
Gorgeous. I loved all the fabrics used in this. Can you tell that I just threw the dolls in this shelf? Not literally, I did not throw them in here, but the dolls that are in this shelf I just don't really like, and I just think they're so basic and boring. I actually do really like the 3-pack here, even though it's really simple, but some of the spirit dolls in this corner are just so blah to me, and I never really enjoyed them. Moving on to our final shelves, we have Jane Boolittle on the bottom right corner here with all the monster pets from the Monster High characters. I loved this line. No, I gotta stop saying that. Here we can see Frankie and Toyline. They are in their superhero forms. I just thought this line was so gorgeous, and I remember wanting the Claudine and Spectra from this line so badly. And in the last corner here, we have Scare Screams. I think she's in her fashion line in Frankie's vanity sets. Oh my god, there's literally a spider right there. So you guys, that was my whole Monster High doll collection. I have over 200 dolls, and I am so grateful that I was able to have these dolls when I was younger, and that my mom got me almost all the dolls that you see here. Like I said earlier, Monster High will always hold a really special place in my heart because it was the only toy line that actually stuck with me. I know that a lot of people, including myself as a kid, went through phases with trying out new toys. I've played with Shopkins, LPS, MLP, like every toy that you can think of, Lollaloopsy. But Monster High was the one that stuck with me for 9 years straight. I love them so much. And I hope this video was fun for you to watch. I hope it was a nostalgic video for you, because I'm sure a lot of my 2000 babies watching this remember these dolls, probably played with these dolls, and are starting to grasp memories that you probably forgot about. I am so excited to keep seeing new teasers and spoilers on the new Monster High reboot, which is actually happening in 2022 that they are coming out. So I'm sure that if any Monster High people are watching this, you can be expecting a lot more news to be released and leaked possibly throughout this year, especially later this year, as we're going to be coming closer and closer to seeing some sneak peeks of the dolls and the movies, as they are making a live action movie. Again, if you guys want to get the LED lights that were featured in today's video, you can head to the link in my description box. But with all being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay positive, keep smiling, you're beautiful. I'll see you next time. Bye!